On my website, I have an image of a sticky note, and on it, it talks about, it has checkboxes. Checkbox, write copy. Checkbox for design my logo. Checkbox for
brochure.
Design a brochure. And the last checkbox is cry. And that's the one that's checked. Because when building a marketing plan, you need a team. And if you try to do it all yourself, you're just going to end up crying.
Megan Giles, welcome to the ROI Online Podcast.
Amazing, right?
What I'm curious about is, I always get this question: do web designers write content?
They do, but they shouldn't always. So I do think that is a skill set a lot of designers need to hone in on, so that then when they receive the content and the copy from professional copywriters who really do know how to write good copy, they can adjust the copy for the design if needed. Because sometimes copywriters do get a little heavy-handed on the words they use. And so we got to rein them in a little bit and be like, nobody's going to read this much copy. We need to focus in and narrow down to the main point here. Take out a couple sentences. But just writing copy from scratch, I don't think there's many web designers out there who are great at it. And I'm one of them for sure. I am not good at writing copy from scratch, but I can edit with the best of them.
So I think we should define for business owners when they think about, I need to go to a web designer to get my website redone. Okay, but there's a lot of players that they should consider.
Yes.
Who are those people?
Absolutely. So you need a content writer, a strategist, somebody who's going to be thinking the 30,000 foot view of your website and how it needs to be designed from the high level. Then that person is going to work with a content person, somebody who's going to write the copy for each of those pages. Then you hand it to a designer like me, who will help bring those words to life so that people want to read them. And then you pass it to a developer. There is a difference between a designer and a developer. A developer makes it work online. They know how to code. They love the coding, but they don't always see visually how that should work. But if I hand them a picture and I say, make this website look like this, they can get it done immediately. So really there's four main people you need, main skill sets to build a website. And not many people have all those four skills.
You said that so well. You just described our quick start process. Okay. And that's why we found a gem when Megan became a part of our team, because she fit in there perfectly and complemented that process. But so many business owners expect that developer to do all of those. And that's why they end up frustrated. And the poor developers just trying to make them happy.
Right.
But they weren't set up for success.
Exactly. Yeah. I wish more developers would realize that they need those extra pieces and say, okay, I will build you an amazing website, but first you need to talk to these three people on my team.
So you said that the important piece there was content strategy. So how do you design a content strategy?
So of course, it all comes back to your main goal. What are you trying to do with it? And story brand terms, you go through all 7 steps, talk through the hero, what they're frustrated with, their problems, give them a plan, and which leads them to success. But you also have to define failure in there so that people realize, if I don't work with this person, then this could happen to me. So I do want to work with them because I want all the success in the world. So thinking through all those different pieces when it comes to content strategy, and then adding in, where I come in is adding in the visual elements of things. And a good example that you pointed it out earlier was on my website, I have an image of a sticky note, and on it, it talks about, it has checkboxes. Checkbox, write copy. Checkbox for design my logo. Checkbox for
Brochure.
Design a brochure. And the last checkbox is cry. And that's the one that's checked. Because when building a marketing plan, you need a team. And if you try to do it all yourself, you're just going to end up crying.
Well, when I saw that image, immediately I was relating, because I've been in that position where I'd written a task list for the day. And it was all these overwhelming things that I needed to do as a business owner. I needed to figure out how to do those. And at the end of it, I felt like I'm going to fail because I don't have what it takes to get this done. And when I looked at your website, my eyes first scanned, and it went immediately to that image. And I looked at it and I giggled. And it's like this brilliant way to communicate the essence of what you do in just milliseconds. And that's so impactful. And it's just a great example of what you do for our clients.
Take away their tears.
Where did you get that inspiration? Where did that idea come from? Back us up and tell us your thinking, because you thought of our hero.
Right.
Walk us through that.
So how I relate to that is when I'm trying to write copy. That's what I want to do. When it's on my task list to write the copy for my website, I wanted to cry. And so it's just reversing the roles of copywriter and designer.
Yeah.
And I've talked to enough copywriters and they're like, design is not my thing. I don't want to do it. Going into Canva gives me hives. I want to give you the words and you make them beautiful.
Yeah.
I've heard that over and over again. And that's how I feel when it comes to copy. I was like, I don't want to write this email, so I'm going to have somebody else write it. And then I can focus on design and my zone of genius.
It was really powerful because immediately I felt like, you get me. She understands me. She's demonstrating it. She's been in my shoes. And I immediately trust you because I know that when we talk, you know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that one image accomplished in seconds, in less than a second. Isn't that amazing?
That it is. And what's really funny is, it almost sounds like I'm bragging, but it feels second nature to me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that deeply about it when I was doing it. I just thought, I need an image. I need it to communicate. This makes sense because everybody has a ton of sticky notes. So.
Yeah. So we could have written all over that website, hey, I understand you because I know what you're struggling with. You're trying to design this and this and this. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you just want to cry.
Yeah.
I understand because I have. And so that's why we're able to help you kind of create a plan and get over this hurdle so you don't cry. Okay. That would have been our content that we would create, some version of that. But to be able to brilliantly create an image that conveys that in just less than a second is amazing. And you do it over and over with our stuff. And I think that's the main message of this podcast, is that if you're not bringing in a creative person that understands your strategy, understands your hero, what they're trying to do and where they're going, you're falling short.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about when every creative starts off, I like doing this. I like doing that. Right. And so they get in, they start doing some processes. Tell us about one job that you felt felt maybe you were missing a mark, and then one day the light bulb went off for you. When did that happen?
Ooh, you didn't have me prepare this question. What? There's got to be one. I know there's a lot of examples here where it just, I think a recent logo example. The target market for this logo were high-end, high-powered women professionals.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't go too girly because then it feels like it's demeaning to women. We couldn't go too masculine because we didn't want to attract that high-powered suit and tie CEO type macho man.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a tough balance, and we've gone round and round, and I think we're finally on the last stages of where it just clicked, and we're almost there. So
yeah. So tell us about your process of, because you take these advances and you realize, no, we're missing the mark there. How do you know when you're starting to get close?
it's a feeling inside, not to get all emotional, but it is, because sometimes I just hit it and it feels good. And I was like, yes, this is exactly it. But then sometimes the creative process is really funny in how sometimes you have to go through revision after revision. And then once you've tried everything, you realize I need this, this, and this from all these different revisions. And then boom, it just magic happens and it works. I don't think I have exact words on how to make that work. But I think with practice, you get better and better. And the more experience you get with a diverse clientele, you can take each of those experiences into that next project, even if it's headed for a different target market.
I would agree. I think there was a time where I started to recognize there was a common theme in pretty much every conversation, even though they're from diverse backgrounds and diverse domains or environments or business challenges they're trying to do. But there was this common theme of, look, I need to get from here to there, but I'm stuck on this because I have to venture into this scary place of this creative virtual domain where I need to show up with my act together. And I've been so good in the physical world. If you come to my shop, my office, there's my conference table, there's where you check in. All these things are clear, but in the virtual world, I'm at a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that even though they were putting it in all these different words, they were saying the same thing. And then it was like, oh, here's the flow. And then when I ran into the story brand framework, I think the big epiphany from there was framework. Okay.
Right.
And I think if someone asks you your process, you actually have a process, you do it naturally,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you imagine, all right, what's our hero? What is it they're trying to overcome? How do they feel right now? Insecure, a little confused, but they're trying to imagine themselves in the future successful.
Mm-hmm.
So let's define what that looks like. Then we can show them, here's the plan, here's the map, here's the steps. And then it's like everything's congruent, it matches. And you do that with your creative. But what's cool is you get to work with a team that's on the same page and framework with the content process, the text process.
Yes. So we all speak the same language at the end of the day, even though it's different mediums.
Yeah. You think about what you're resolving is if we were going to go back in time, people need to pack you up and take you with them because you're going to be able to draw on a cave wall and immediately we're going to communicate better than someone that's like, I'm a good writer. So, right?
That is a funny analogy, but yes, absolutely. If you go back in time, call me.
But we're
Gotcha.
all cave people, right?
Uh,
And our brains go there first.
mhm.
And that's what you're resolving. So what does the future look like for you? Speaking of time travel.
What does my future look like?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's about time to start traveling again. I've been stationary for too long. I set my business up so that I could travel.
Mhm.
I refuse to get like a full desktop workstation. I would just want a laptop and a notepad, and I want to be able to fit everything in a backpack. And so that I can travel. And I was traveling quite a bit over the last couple of years. And the past few months, I've been home trying to regroup and figure out the travel and work and how to get it all done. And so, but I'm itching to go again.
The nomadic creative.
Yes.
So Megan, you would say that you've learned how to be impactful in your professional life and yet be able to work remotely from anywhere.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think for a creative, it's good to get out and experience new things and see new backgrounds, because there have been so many times where I'm sitting, I do enjoy a good beer, and sometimes I will work from a brewery. And so when I'm sitting there and I'll see something, because breweries have amazing art everywhere, I'll see something or have a conversation, and then something will just click on a project that I'm working on. And then I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I needed, the inspiration. Where if I'm sitting at my house, I wouldn't have that interaction because I see the same thing every day.
That's cool. Plus the smell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Breweries. But you're not just in breweries everywhere.
No.
But you
I
could
see
be on, you
a
could be
lot
on a
more.
cattle ranch. There's smells
Yep.
there.
There are smells there. Yes.
You could be on the beach.
Yes. I need more beaches. I was at a beach, was in January down in Orange Beach, Florida. Beautiful, but it was a little chilly. Went and worked from a restaurant for the afternoon, and huge waves coming up because it was so windy that day. And it was a neat environment to be, I don't know. And it's such a different landscape than I'm used to.
So Megan, I always like to ask one question. It's like, what's the one question I didn't ask that you love to answer?
We've talked about everything. Do you want more questions about me? I don't know. Maybe, okay. I do have a good one what has led to my success
Yeah.
so
What
far,
has
because
led?
I have really grown the past 2 years. I look at my bank account and I'm like, holy cow, I'm actually doing this. I
Mhm.
built a business from my laptop. And my best answer is God. I pray every day. I am very faithful, and it's a process, but He has blessed me abundantly because I feel that I continually try to grow closer to Him. And that has just been an amazing transformation in my life.
I love that. Now, that's why you fit in with us so well. Megan, what an awesome guest you've been on the ROI Online Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
All right. And that's a wrap.